Case summary. Foley v. Classique Coaches Ltd. 1934 is a significant case in English contract law concerning the enforceability of agreements to agree and the requirements for certainty in contractual terms. The central issue in this case was whether an agreement with an indefinite price term could be enforceable. Background facts. Claimant, plaintiff, Foley. Defendant, Classique Coaches Ltd. Facts. Foley, the claimant, sold a petrol station to Classique Coaches Ltd. with an accompanying agreement that the company would purchase all its petrol from Foley. This ancillary agreement stipulated that the petrol would be sold at a price to be agreed by the parties in writing from time to time. Subsequently, the company ceased purchasing petrol from Foley, prompting him to bring a lawsuit to enforce the agreement. Argument. Claimant's argument. Foley argued that the agreement was binding despite the lack of a specific price term and that Classique Coaches Ltd. had breached their contractual obligation by purchasing petrol elsewhere. Defendant's argument. Classique Coaches Ltd. contended that the agreement was unenforceable due to its indefiniteness, particularly the absence of a clear price term. Final outcome and legal justification. Final outcome. The Court of Appeal held that the agreement was enforceable. The rationale was that the parties had conducted their business under the agreement for 3 years, and a method for determining the price, i.e., agreement between the parties, had been established through their course of dealings. The court emphasized that the parties' prior conduct could resolve uncertainties in the agreement. Law justification. The decision was grounded in the principle that a contract must have certainty in its terms to be enforceable. However, the court recognized that a course of dealing between the parties could provide sufficient certainty. The agreement's term price to be agreed from time to time was initially indefinite, but the consistent business dealings over 3 years demonstrated a practical mechanism for determining the price. The court thus concluded that the term was not too uncertain to be enforceable. Key concept. The Foley v. Classique Coaches Ltd. case underscores the importance of certainty in contractual terms. However, it also illustrates that a lack of initial specificity can be remedied through a consistent course of dealing between parties. This case highlights that the practical application and conduct of the parties can impart sufficient certainty to an otherwise indefinite term. Key learnings. 1. Certainty in terms. A contract must have definite terms to be enforceable. Indefinite terms can be clarified through a consistent course of dealing. 2. Course of dealing. Regular and consistent business conduct can impart certainty to otherwise vague contractual terms. 3. Enforceability of agreements to agree. While generally unenforceable, agreements to agree can be upheld if a clear mechanism for resolving the indefinite terms exists through the parties' conduct. Understanding Foley v. Classique Coaches Ltd. aids in grasping the nuanced interplay between contractual certainty and the practical application of agreements in business dealings.